Hello everyone, it's Sammy from Push Square, and in today's video I really wanted to talk about this idea that the PlayStation 4 is not powerful enough to offer a competent virtual reality experience. Now at the time of recording, there are less than 3 months until PlayStation VR is publicly released, and I'm really excited about that because personally I'm very hyped for the hardware. But I know a lot of people that haven't tried it yet have looked at the recommended specs for the likes of Oculus Rift and the Vive and have wondered whether the PS4, which is comparatively less powerful piece of hardware, can match the kind of experiences available on the PC. Now I should preface this video by stressing I haven't tried a Vive yet. I've only used the commercial release version of Oculus Rift and the PlayStation VR, so I can only compare those two. But what I would say is PlayStation VR is definitely good enough, and the PlayStation 4 is definitely powerful enough to offer this idea of presence. Now, for those of you that haven't been following virtual reality closely, the idea of presence is kind of the end game, the end result for what virtual reality is trying to achieve. And it is basically the idea that you're lost in your surroundings. You become engrossed so much in the virtual world around you that you kind of lose your bearings a little bit and forget where you actually are. And I've experienced this with PlayStation VR, particularly Battlezone, which I was lucky enough to try out at the developer's main office, and I was stationed in the middle of their kind of open floor workspace. Surrounded by people, and I actually really lost myself. I was really engaged in what was going on in that game, and that is definitely one of the launch games that I can't wait to buy and play at home. But I've also experienced it with Rigs, which is the Gorilla Cambridge arena shooter. That is a great demo because it does lots of cool things with the technology. When you get into your mech, there are people around you kind of cheering you on, and you really get a sense of presence there. Again, that word again. So Rigs is another one that definitely delivers that experience. Now, there's not to say that there aren't issues with PlayStation VR. There definitely are. You're not going to get the kind of visual experience out of virtual reality that you'd expect from maybe an Uncharted 4 or a similar 2D, I guess, based game. And there's definitely aliasing issues on the PS4, which means there's lots of jaggies basically, and it can be a bit blurry, but it does seem to depend on the game, and as you'd expect from normal software, some games look better than others, some take advantage of the hardware better than others. That's just normal, right? Now the Oculus Rift, in comparison, it does run at a higher resolution, which in theory should offer a clearer image, but of the games that I've played, I would say it's pretty comparable to what you get on PlayStation VR. Maybe it's a little bit clearer, you know, but you're talking slightly, it's not a big deal from what I've experienced. Now with PC, the hardware is always upgrading, and if you're willing to keep up with that upgrade cycle, you're obviously going to end up with a better experience down the line. And PlayStation VR, unless the PS4K starts offering exclusives or significantly enhanced experiences, it's not going to be able to keep up with PC. That's just a fact. But I think for this launch period, for the first few years of VR, PlayStation VR can definitely offer a competent experience. The idea of presence, I've experienced it already in the launch games, and they're only going to get better. And if virtual reality does become a thing, if it becomes very popular and it's something that Sony wants to pursue with down the line, we're probably only 3, 4, maybe 5 years away from a PlayStation 5, which, you know, is going to dramatically increase the experience across the board again. So I wouldn't worry too much. The PlayStation 4, for now, is definitely powerful enough to offer a competent virtual reality experience. I think it's comparable to what I've seen on Oculus Rift at the moment. And, you know, if you want to spend loads of money, Oculus Rift is quite expensive. Building a supercharged PC is quite expensive. But PlayStation VR can give you a comparable experience for a much lower price, and while you have to accept that it's not going to be top of the range, you know, if I buy a Ferrari, I would expect it to be faster than my sister's used Renault Megane, for example. But that doesn't mean that her Megane can't get from A to B. It's a terrible analogy, but you get what I'm getting at, right? PlayStation VR is the cheaper option. It's not necessarily the better option, but it's a good option. And you can definitely have a good virtual reality experience right now with the power that the PlayStation 4 has. And I'd expect that to last for a few more years yet, until we're all looking at a PlayStation 5 or a new PlayStation console. So I wouldn't worry too much. The PS4 can definitely do VR. It can do it well. And like I say, I'm excited about it. But what about you? Are you looking forward to PlayStation VR yet? Is it still a bit too expensive for you? Are you still concerned despite this video, which would suggest I haven't done a very good job, but are you still concerned whether the PS4 can offer a good enough experience? Let us know in the comments section below. Remember to check out Push Square for much more PlayStation VR news and hopefully soon reviews. And as always, thank you so much for watching the channel and sticking with us. Thank you.